carries.
Yeah.
Deborah. I don't know how to do this unless we go in the Zoom, so I guess that's just how.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we don't have to.
I need the Zoom, but I
Yeah.
don't know how to do YouTube. That's in the wrong here.
Kelsey will let you know.
Yeah.
Oldest going into, wow, she's not going into sixth grade.
He's going into sixth grade.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay. That's just tall, yeah. I saw her at the dance performance. I was like, oh, no.
That's definitely been one of the things on our,
On your radar.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we will call the public hearing to order. We have a city council public hearing
I'll call the roll real quick.
Yeah.
Mayor Smith,
here.
Deborah Adams,
Here.
Aaron Hansen,
Here.
Casey Kinsman,
Here.
Mike Mickelson,
Here.
Wendy Rainey,
Here.
Kathy Sherman,
Here.
Dave Zastro.
Here.
That's quorum of council.
Thank you. So we're holding a public hearing to talk about ordinance 1230, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Cordova, Alaska, amending Cordova Municipal Code, section 7.40.030, adding clarification to the land disposal map noticing process. Does anyone want to comment or testify at the public hearing? Not what you all are here for. Okay.
So just adjourn it.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, all right. We're gonna adjourn the public hearing. Short and sweet. And at 7:05, I will call to order the regular city council meeting for May 7th. Want to
And
call the roll?
Pledge first.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did that again. Oh. Do I mean the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Thank you. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What's going on over there?
You just leaned on the light.
You were leaning.
Okay.
Thank you.
All of a sudden, you're-
Yeah.
Feels
I
good.
I can fix
I
it.
think we needed it.
We were sitting in the dark. We were,
Older eyes can read better.
yeah,
It was nice.
And I will call the roll again.
okay,
Mayor Smith,
here,
Deborah Adams,
here.
Aaron Hansen,
Here.
Casey Kinsman,
Here.
Mike Mickelson,
Here.
Wendy Rainey,
Here.
Kathy Sherman,
Here.
Dave Zastro.
Here.
That is all of council.
Thank you. Okay, so we have before us the regular agenda. Are there any modifications to the agenda, additions? Okay, all those in favor of the agenda as it's presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Okay, disclosures of conflicts of interest and ex parte communication. Are there any conflicts of interest to declare or ex parte communications? Seeing none, we can go on to communications by and petitions from visitors. We don't have any guest speakers, so we will now take audience comments regarding agenda items. 3 minutes per person. Anybody want to come forward?
We don't need a mic tonight, either.
Or we can
We need a mic.
I don't think so.
Well, for the
line folks for, yeah.
for the people on listening.
I think that'll- well,
David Allison, 203 Whiskey Ridge. I'm here to speak on your resolution regarding the $3 million from the permanent fund. I think I was pretty clear at the last meeting. I don't have any new comments other than what I made at the last meeting, that you have an ordinance as part of your code and ordinances to loan the harbor fund $3 million from the permanent fund until reimbursement from the raise grants were obtained. Now you're committing, I don't know what you're trying to do, actually. I know what you're trying to do, but your resolution is just changing the interest and payment terms of that, but you're kind of doing it from the general fund. But those funds belong to the harbor. The harbor is obligated to repay that $3 million. I think it's just a whole lot cleaner if you finish that ordinance, follow the law that you made, finish that ordinance. And then if you need to take money from the permanent fund for the general fund, do that as an operation with the general fund. Because I just think you're not supposed to mix general fund accounting with the enterprise fund accounting, and that's exactly what you're doing here. You got a home construction loan to build your construction, and now your neighbors are trying to take that money and use it for their yard maintenance and buy their automobiles and do their thing, and you're leaving the harbor hanging here with that obligation. So it's just confusing. I think it'd be easier to finish that ordinance, pay that off, and if you need money from the permanent fund, do another ordinance, loaning money or giving money or however you want to do it, from the permanent fund to the general fund. So anyway, that's my comment on that.
Thank you. Thanks for tracking with us. Any other audience comments on any items? Okay, chairpersons and representatives of boards and commissions.
Evening, Dave Janka. I represent City of Cordova on the Prince William Sound Regional Citizens Advisory Council. We had our spring Valdez board meeting last week. I attended that. And April 30th included joining staff and some board members of a tour of the Valdez Marine Terminal, boat ride to observe the on-water serves training in Valdez. We also got a little meet and greet up at the Coast Guard facility, and then an industry reception that evening. And then first and second, Thursday, Friday, were meetings. And after the Friday meeting, Prince William Sound College had a student science symposium. That was good. So as usually, we just get a tremendous amount of updates from our 5 technical advisory committees and 3 board subcommittees. We have our executive board voted every year, and I was again put as a member at large on the executive committee. We had staff and contractor updates on the SERV's oil spill drill monitoring, the Copper River Delta Flats geographic resource, the GRS, I'll call it GRS because I can't remember what the hell it stands for, program. Report on a secondary containment issue, liners on the crude oil tanks, distribution of our peer listener program. There was a storage tank vent issue a couple of years ago. We're still getting updates on that, as well as getting buoy 61 replaced out there. It's sitting over here in the Coast Guard lot, but for some reason, the National Buoy Data Center cannot cooperate with the Coast Guard to have the Coast Guard cutter put it out, or the Coast Guard buoy tender to deploy it, which is what you would think a buoy tender would do, is deploy buoys. It's very frustrating. Had a report from Marianne Bishop on a project we funded, the Marine Winter Bird Survey. Updates on the vessel of opportunity issue going on. The Coast Guard's going to, we have a verbal commitment, I guess, from the Admiral that they're not going to do that, but that's verbal. So we hope they're not going to do that. Also an update on the risks and safety report we had done with Billy Gard a couple of years ago. Updates from Alyeska, SERVs, the owners, the pilots, the shippers. So it's a lot of information passed back and forth at those board meetings. And if you're ever interested, there's our committees, our advisory, technical advisory committees are all volunteer. If you're ever interested in those, there's scientific advisory, port operations, terminal operations, oil spill, information education. So feel free to reach out anytime. A couple of significant ones there was that the Bureau of Land Management's lost almost half of their staff with all the chaos going on, and their entire leadership team. That's a big oversight agency to the oil terminal and especially the pipeline. That was very concerning. Also, there's been quite a loss of some upper management at Alyeska and some slightly lower management. Most more significant thing is all those people leaving was 6 women, and there was a possibly due to intimidation and hostile work environment. So we're hoping to get some follow-ups on that. One thing that has come pretty positive that people in Valdez have always wanted ever since day one of the pipeline, because the terminal is always burning off a lot of excess gas and has excess electricity. Even now with the lower flow, they still have electricity, but they finally worked out an agreement to hook up into Copper Valley Electric and be able to share some of that. They figure it'll probably be a 3/4 to Copper Valley and maybe a 1/4 back to them at times when their vapor system is not as well. A lot of that had to do with their Allison Creek hydro facility is just right outside the front gate, and it made it a lot easier for them to hook up. They had some big projects. They're replacing some of their vapor recovery systems. I mean, looking at that stuff's getting pretty old. They also in the process of switching to the non-forever chemical fire foam. They've got that changed out at berth 5, I think, working on berth 4, and then the facility will get it changed out as well. And then also switching to a new dispersant, if that is ever called upon in a spill. So they're getting rid of the Corexit 9500 and bringing on another supposedly better, more healthy one, but we still don't approve of dispersants. And then they'll be here in September in Cordova for our fall board meeting. So that'll be
Wow.
exciting to have them here, and have to figure out some other tours and attractions for them while they're here. So any questions?
Do you have dates for that fall meeting?
I think it's at 18th and 19th and
Right.
I think that sounds about right. Yeah. I was gonna write it down and they go, oh, that's so far in advance. I don't, nobody's gonna ask, but
how many days
people
long
would-
it is? 18.
Would we imagine being here for that? Would be coming from out of town.
well, you've got about, if all the
Yeah.
board members come, that's 20 right there. Quite often they will, pay their own way for their spouse. And then there's about almost 20 staff. And then you've got, depending on how many shippers and our ex officio members too give updates, and that's the Coast Guard, DEC, BLM, 6 others, depending on how many of those actually want to come in person. I think Cordova's kind of we get to go to Cordova, so I think we might get a good turnout. So it'd be quite a bit, and I think there's still, Jennifer with RCAC has really got on it real early to
I was gonna say, she better make.
get rooms.
reservations
Yeah, she got the rooms
because of the-
a couple of months ago and looking at venues. It's a little tight here. I mean, if you open it up, it's okay, but then it's kind of distracting.
Well, I
And then
was
it's-
thinking of lodging because of. the
Oh, yeah,
spear
yeah,
fishing
yeah.
season,
She got there's a lot, fungus, it butts right up into Fungus Festival. There's serves training, I think the week before. There's some kind of an electric co-op conference going on. So they were very much aware of all that going
Yeah.
on.
Councilmember Mickelson, do you have?
I just had a question. In terms of the pipeline lifespan and the maintenance, I haven't heard anything in the RCAC updates about that. I'm sure you guys have discussed it at length over the years. Is there any new information there, I guess?
Not allowed to.
The hard part is that it's out of our official jurisdiction. We handle it from where the pipeline enters the terminal. and on through the tankers out the sound. It's very frustrating that there isn't anything, but that's the way the Oil Pollution Act of 1990 wrote it up.
Thank you.
And that's what we have our,
Yeah.
we sometimes ask questions a little bit. Oh, well, how do you heat? Because they have to heat the oil now somewhere. It says, where do you do that? And how do you do that? Because gets kind of cold now because it takes so long to travel. That's why they have snow removal issues on their storage tanks, because the oil isn't warm enough to melt the snow off the tops like it was years ago. So yeah, that is very frustrating. They do sometimes throw out this taps at 100 comment, which is kind of frightening. But and that's one of the issues with the storage tanks is they have an impermeable liner supposedly in these cells, like all storage tanks have, that'll handle 110% of a leak. And these, it's questionable whether how intact these liners are. The technology, if you had waited a couple of years and tried to build that a couple of years after they did, it probably would not be the process that would be accepted. It's not an accepted way of putting liners in today. And it's something we're trying to figure out. I think, well, but yeah, the pipeline itself, it's got more to Willow and Pica fields opening, so that's supposed to start bringing it up to a better flow and usability. And but yeah, now people like Richard Feinberg is gone. He was a big one, keeping an eye on the pipeline itself. And with BLM staff shortages and other agencies, it's a big one for us. Just the oversight at Alyeska is really dropped because of things. But we try to do the best we can and keep an eye on at least the end of the pipeline.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Councilmember Adams.
The loss of staff, you said 6 women,
Yeah.
and is.
At
can you
Alyeska.
Speak a little bit more about that, or can you, or
Can we what?
can you elaborate on that a little bit? Or
There-
an internal
And a lot of
investigation?
it's, we're asking for more information about it. It was our vice president of the board, Amanda Bauer in Valdez, had asked about it, and she had heard, secondhand a little bit about it being a little not the best, that they left possibly because of some, workplace intimidation or not a healthy workplace for women. So it's as a vice president of a couple of different departments, and then some management people, cybersecurity, head of cybersecurity, things like that. So the significant positions. And it's really concerning for everybody, just the loss of those. And then to hear that it's potentially something like that, very concerning. So we're asking for more updates on, and if there's any investigation on it. And you'll have the usual, I'm here this week, so I came in to talk about it. They'll have the usual more formal update on the meeting. That'll be in your packet probably in another week or something, probably your next meeting in 2 weeks.
Great, thank you. Well, thanks for the detail. That's really great information and
Yeah.
really
yeah.
good to, we really appreciate your representing the city on the board and
Thanks.
especially on the executive committee. That's
Yeah,
a huge asset for us.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you,
Very
Dave.
good.
Have a good meeting.
presentation. Thanks.
Yeah.
I handed out one of these to everybody.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, we don't have a student council report. So approval of the consent calendar.
I'm going to call the roll on a little catch up of minutes there. Wendy Rainey,
Yes.
Aaron Hansen. Casey Kinsman,
Yes.
Deborah Adams,
Yes.
Kathy Sherman,
Yes.
Mike Mickelson,
Yes.
Dave Zastro.
Yes.
The consent calendar is approved.
Great. Okay, considerations of bids, proposals and contracts. We have council approval of a restated employment agreement with city clerk Susan Bourgeois. And so the contract is on page 13. We can give an account of the conversation that Councilmember Kinsman and I had with the clerk. and talk about the number for the contract, which the clerk has agreed to based on our conversation. And I guess if council feels like they need to talk about it more, then we could go into executive session later. Unless, yeah. So, does that sound right?
Sure. I think your last executive session, you came up with a number. You guys gave it to me. I'm okay with it. So if you want to just insert and make the motion, we can approve it. If you feel like you need an executive session to talk among yourselves again before this, we can push the whole thing till later.
Well, the number that we talked about in executive session is not the same as the number we talked about with you.
It's not?
No. That's what I'm.
Okay, I'm confused. I thought
Confused.
you brought me
Wrong.
what.
Okay, well,
council-
I thought, well, I remembered it, that we were doing it in two different.
Based off our conversation, because I wasn't actually at the executive session,
Mhm.
but
Okay,
the way it was presented, it was the same number.
same number, different time that we act on it.
I had written this with blanks, thinking that it was a possibility that we had a different number through the end of 25 and then a different salary starting in 26.
Right.
But the communication that came back from the executive session was that council was okay with a number and starting immediately at that number instead of pushing it till January 1st of 26. Is that correct?
Okay, maybe I'm misremembering.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's what
no,
you
that's
guys
okay.
told me.
Yeah.
That is what you presented. to me.
Yeah, okay. all
Exactly.
right, then
That's
I'm-
what I remember.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Okay, then I'm going back to a different session.
All
Sorry,
in
my
favor
apologies.
of that number.
Yes,
Well,
yes,
yeah, because it's been like 3 executive sessions, so sorry. I
Yeah.
can see the confusion.
All good.
yeah. So,
a motion?
Someone should make the motion and someone should just say the salary.
I could make the motion. You got, I don't have the number right in front of me, but
I have the number.
maybe you can insert the number.
I don't have the number.
it's level 9.
Yep, I have the.
You want to make, you got that?
Where on me somehow.
Great.
I don't take notes during executive session.
That's a good practice.
Not supposed to.
But I think you can use level 9.
Yeah.
Well, I can
20.
find it if you need
Got the
it.
Number, right?
Oh.
Just getting back. to
Oh,
the
okay,
motion.
sorry.
Skip over to the number.
Got the number, so you'll make the motion.
Oh, that's right. Now I remember. Yeah.
The first one was different. the
Yes,
second one
yes,
was
exactly.
different.
That's what right.
I was like, wait, what, again?
No.
Now, I'm
Sorry.
actually confused on the motion that I'm making here. I don't see the blank for the sound.
Oh, should I make the motion? And you can put in the
Yeah,
number?
go ahead.
Okay.
Do that.
I move to approve the reinstated employment agreement between the city of Cordova and Susan Bourgeois. A salary will need to be inserted in a draft contract after the executive session negotiation. Via, vote via roll call, but we're going to insert it right now.
Correct.
Correct. And the salary is $122,180.63.
Yes.
So- Is there a
And
second?
I'll second.
Second.
Okay. So moved by Zastro
Yes.
and seconded by Sherman. Do you have anything further to add to the motion?
I do not.
Member Sherman?
No.
Okay, any other questions? Discussion? Okay. This is a roll call vote?
Yes. So, item 6. Wendy Rainey,
Yes.
Mike Mickelson,
Yes.
Aaron Hansen,
Yes.
Casey Kinsman,
Yes.
Kathy Sherman,
Yes.
Deborah Adams,
Yes.
Dave Zastro.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
And thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
So we don't have an example.
Okay,
No executive session is necessary.
right. Okay, so reports of officers, for the mayor's report, I didn't, obviously you saw that, have a written report this time. Not a ton has happened since last week. But I did want to just remind people about the upcoming gathering with the Rasmussen Foundation, which I think is on, I want to say it's on the 16th, the 15th or 16th, I can't remember, but it's next week that everyone's invited to. There was
Oh, you sent it and I sent it.
Right.
Out?
Yeah, 15,
Yeah.
30 to 6.
But I think,
30 to 6:30.
yeah, would be great to be there because we are gonna need them. So it'd be good to say thank you for coming to Cordova and I would do it myself, but I will be out of town. So I appreciate
So, yeah.
other folks doing that. And yeah, I think we are gonna have to be advocating loud and hard with our delegation for secure rural schools and Head Start and essential air service. And, you know, the numbers that Sam sent around, I think are what's talked about as being budgeted? Or is that the actual, the number that we have in our, for secure rural schools, I'm sorry.
Huh? So what's your question?
The numbers that you sent around by email yesterday or today.
Right, so I sent what we had in 24 and I
Mhm.
sent what they are giving us in 25.
And so is that actual, so that was 25 appropriations?
Yes.
We will be receiving it in May. That is the amount.
Like this month.
Okay, yeah.
Thank-
Well, I guess I'm just thinking that that they're putting together the federal budget now, working on that for fall. And so this is the time when we really have to speak up and do what we can to get some appropriations in there to fill some of these gaps if we can.
I did talk to Nils at AML, sending him some information. They're starting a little campaign to
Mhm.
get in there, but
Yeah.
yeah, it won't come in 25.
Right,
Is my, maybe something would
Yeah.
happen in 26.
right, yeah. Okay, yeah, I don't have too much else to report. There was a group of, energy fellows here in town for the last couple days that are part of a, National Science Foundation funded program, and they are from, small remote communities with either, you know, the independent grids, island grids, or really rural places. There are a couple people from Puerto Rico and some folks from rural Alaska and other rural communities in the country. And it was just kind of cool. And also one of those energy fellows is from Cordova. Shay Bowman was part of that group. So it was kind of neat just to, and this was a 10-day program, so they've traveled around a little bit. But it was just cool to hear about the work that they're doing in these small communities. And I think, you know, they're all mostly younger folks. And I thought, you know, this is, I know we're not getting support from the federal level, but this is the group that's helping move an energy transition forward. So I was just saying, please keep up the great work and yeah, we'll have to just keep advocating for funding for renewable energy. I think that's it. I'm happy to answer questions if people have any questions. Or,
Rise showcase on the 13th.
oh, yeah. The Chamber of Commerce is, thank you. The Chamber of Commerce has been working with some new businesses in town, and they're doing a Rise. And I apologize, I can't remember what that acronym stands for, but it's,
It's a community showcase.
It's a
well, I was
regenerative
thinking of
impact.
Rise, it's like regenerative tourism, yeah.
And
But it's, the showcase is gonna be on the 15th?
13th
13th.
at 5:30
At 5:30.
here.
Here, yeah. And so if people want to come to that and meet some of those people and hear about their new businesses, that would be pretty great. Yeah.
Sent you that invite today in
Yes.
an email
Yes.
Kathy had forwarded.
Yeah.
Okay, Kathy
Mhm.
Renfeld.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
Could you, I don't know if Sam would put it together or you would, a cheat sheet for meeting with Rasmussen people, just so that I know what some talking points
Mhm.
to reference because, I'm in information overload.
Yeah.
And what kind of asks we might want to, have.
Mhm. I think, wasn't there mention of putting in a tier 2 or a funding request for a roof for the pool to Rasmussen? I mean,
Mhm.
it sounds like it hasn't been submitted, but it might be. something that,
I think they have moved out into recreational community facilities, have they not? In terms of their fundings,
I'm not 100% sure. I know
Yeah.
they do like bricks and mortar stuff.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
So it never used to be that recreation was included, but it is now.
But yeah, I can certainly do that.
Thank you, thank you.
Mhm.
So if somebody wants to write something up like that, Mayor Smith, and send it to me, I can make sure everybody gets it, kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Or Sam, if you have points to add too.
Mhm.
Can any of you that have been here with previous interactions with them kind of speak to what they've funded for the city? I know for like they've given money for different projects of like the museum, but does anybody know if they've actually given money to the
Building.
So for this facility, yes. And then a lot of the art that the museum gets to purchase comes through the museum or Rasmussen funding that's set up with Museums Alaska. So the art acquisitions, the management of the museum collections and conservation, they have quarterly grants for those. And then $750,000 for this particular building. But there's more. And that's what I was just going back into my head. So I'll feed some to you.
Well, I know they gave, I want to say it was like $70,000 to the Copper River Watershed Project to buy a new baler that's used at the Whiteshed Road facility, and that's what they use to bail the fishing nets
And
and aluminum cans.
to your point about recreation, the city of Cordova Parks and Rec actually a few years back got money for Nirvana Park.
Yes,
as
yes,
well.
that's correct.
Right.
And gym equipment. And gym equipment.
Mhm. And they're also a big partner with the Alaska Community Foundation. So the Rasmussen Foundation funds a big chunk of the Alaska Foundation's Community Foundation program. So for the Cordova Community Foundation, when we are, the goal is to raise a certain amount per year, and the Rasmussen Foundation matches 30,000 of that. It has been matching 30,000 of that each year, which goes into the endowment for the Cordova Community Foundation. So that money all stays here in town and gets
Doled out. yeah.
rolled out as grants to local nonprofits.
And this one, I'm not sure how wonderful it was, but they gave us $25,000 for Nirvana Park, and that came out of nowhere. And wasn't really asked for. So that was we did do some renovations and work at Nirvana Park, but
And it's possible that they also gave money to the Cordova Family Resource Center to help them buy that.
Sounds familiar.
I think they did. I
Mhm.
think they gave, so they could buy that house and have their own office and have a shelter. Have, it's the word, temporary housing for people trying to stabilize. Yeah.
Do they come here every year or this is, and this might be too soon, too short a notice, but I mean, just to have a display of all of the things that are in place in Cordova because of them? I mean, we can't make anything elaborate, but it would just to show our,
we might be able to put together a slideshow that just
Yeah.
runs quietly.
Mhm.
I could do that probably. If I did.
Yeah, that's a good idea, but
and I don't know in the next week if there's just a giant piece of butcher paper that says, thank you Rasmussen, and then anybody who comes to the library or comes into this building just signs their name.
Mhm.
I mean,
yeah, that'd be great.
it's pretty proletariat, but it's still,
Effective.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it shows them that we do have gratitude for,
And I'm thinking too that I don't know what graphic we would use, but the Forest Service, you guys have a big plotter?
We do.
We
Because if
have a
there was an
plotter.
image, pardon?
We have a.
The city has a plotter. So if you printed something on plotter paper, some image, I mean, you could, it could even just say thank you. But you could print something on plotter paper and then have everybody sign that.
If it were just in the lobby in the building here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be great.
Right.
Okay.
Tell me what flatter paper is.
It's just it's a big printer. It's a printer that prints on something that's at like the width of butcher paper. I mean, it's 36 inches wide.
Okay.
It's for plotting like
Housing
big,
plans.
yeah, big architectural
Thank
drawings
you.
and things. Yeah. Do you have a better definition, Kevin? Is that what? Oh, I thought maybe you oh, okay. I didn't thought there was. Okay. Great. That's my report. City manager's report.
So our new Cordova Center coordinator starts on Monday. His name is Alex, and he has many, many years of experience with the type of sound system mics and everything that we have and everything that's in the North Star. So that is super exciting. He has lived in Healy, so he knows what Alaska's like. So I'm pretty excited about that. He's actually in town right now. I've been working with insurance, trying to figure out how we can get some cheaper premiums. Difficult. We still have a high claims rate. And I keep working with the broker. We'll see what happens. They have it every month. Apparently they review our claims, so hopefully they will be giving us some kind of quote on that. I've been met with Hannah, a couple times about hospital and city opportunities. Working a lot with the fire department and volunteer fire department, just on the MOUs, roles and responsibility, EM staffing, and just trying to get that coordinated. We sent 253 registered people for real IDs, DMV, 20 road tests and a few other miscellaneous. Actually, I think it's 20 road tests and then a few miscellaneous things. So DNP has it now. They're gonna review them all, and then they will let us know when they're coming. And so I can't update that. I bet you guys are getting asked, because I'm getting asked a lot. So that's all I can do. We're waiting on DMV. They've had it for a week and a half. I'm gonna check in with them on Friday, see where they're at. I've been working with Arctic IT on just IT stuff because we don't have an IT person. So I've been doing quarterly reports with them, looking at our computer situation. They pushed a Windows 11. We're slowly upgrading to that, although we do have some machines that can't upgrade to 11. But it's okay. It just means that Windows 10s won't be supported. So if they break, they're done. DOT White Shed, the bridge work will wrap up Thursday evening. We did change the schedule on Thursday, so check it out on the webpage. They will be there 6 to 8. It'll be open 8 to 9, and then the evening will be open 5 to 6. So we moved it around so it was a little more. But they were pretty excited today when I got the email because they had thought that it might be they thought it might be a little more than they anticipated, but they got her going. And Samantha's here. I was just gonna see if if you guys have any questions. So I sent an email about Skater's Cabin. We did stop reservations after July 31st. We are trying to figure things out and how to deal with it. It does seem, I don't know if anybody's gone around and looked at it, but it's in pretty bad shape, getting concerned about public safety. So we're starting to think of ways to get that moving forward. And then the pool, and I just want to look at Samantha for this one. You're going to start draining on the night of the 10th. Yep. So that's just trying to see where it stops draining, and that will be a bit of time. It's really hard to know. Maybe 2 to 4 weeks. It kind of depends. So we'll have an update on that when we get there. And that's all I really have, unless anybody has questions.
What's the projector situation for the theater? Is it like completely down? Does it need to
Yep,
be replaced or?
Well, luckily, NVE has a person coming to do some of their finishing tech stuff, and they are with the company that we have worked with
Oh,
on that. So they're gonna come and look at it. But that thing, it costs $35,000. It could just be a bulb, but apparently in the world of electronics, it's pretty old. So we're gonna see what they have to say. We would talk with Alex because apparently he replaced his entire systems and upgraded where he was working at. So that'll be super helpful. But until then, it's down because it's a very powerful one because it
Mhm.
projects to the screen. It's up high, up at the top and projects down. So we can't just I was like, pull this one out and put it in. We can't do that. So yeah, that will be down until we figure out exactly what the cost is and do we upgrade or how do we deal with that?
I don't know how much use the showers at the pool get in the summer with our transient population. Will the pool still be open for people who need to use the showers?
That's a good question.
Hi. We will be closing the pool for showers also, just because we can close off the pool area, but it's still considered a construction zone. So if we're doing any work in there, we do have some other maintenance that we're gonna do while we're down. So they can always come to Bedarkey too. That'll be up.
Or the harbor master.
And the
Or the harbor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know there are other options, but some in the past, I know people have used.
Mhm.
Those are good showers.
Yes, yes, they are. Thank you.
Mayor. Can you give us an update on filled positions, vacant positions? Where do we stand?
Well, Alex, and then we're interviewing for a police chief, Monday. We have extended an offer to an officer position. We have taken down the pool lifeguard and the second librarian and to save some money. And the pool is not open.
Right.
Yeah. And then, I know I'm gonna forget, finance director. Yep, no leads on the finance director anymore. I feel like I'm forgetting one.
When does our HR person start?
DMV. How could I forget? What was that?
Please go ahead with DMV. That's our
I don't have anything to update.
HR position.
June 2nd.
Okay. Perfect.
If I might, Mayor.
Yeah, please.
So,
Mhm.
you've been discussing EMS needs for the coming summer season with folks. I know you're looking at some contractual services to help support. How's that going?
We are feeling decent about being able to push it through. We are definitely covered through June 30th. That the next schedule is July through September. So that's kind of where we are now, trying to see if we can make it happen with what we have. So we had a few EMTs come back on one had been injured. I can't remember why I don't remember why the other person was gone. So we have a few more coming on. We're looking at maybe trying to go through a procedure where we have EMTs and we have lead EMTs, and trying to get some of the EMTs who have passed the test and are all certified to take a procedure class and pass the test and then become lead. So we're working on it, hopefully that we can keep it within house, because contractual is going to be very expensive. But we'll do what we have to do. I mean, I'm going to assume public safety is a high priority, including the ambulance. So.
Any other questions for the manager?
Okay, great, thank you. City clerk. City clerk's report.
So we have the certification of the tax roll That's in your packet tonight, so we were working on that to get those numbers all together, and I can answer any questions when we get to that agenda item. We still have that training scheduled for June 11th. I never really heard back from everyone, so I think I'm just gonna book her ticket. Basically, DCRA is funding her time. We just have to pay for airfare from Anchorage and 1 night of lodging. Thinking it'll be like 2 to 3 hours on the 11th, which is a Wednesday, June 11th. I hope as many of you can make it as possible. And then at pending agenda, I guess we'll just talk about some other dates, like we need a special meeting next week. Anyway, that's all I have, and thank you for the contract renewal. Appreciate that. And I can answer questions.
Yes, Councilmember Mickelson.
If you can figure out a way to make it remote, I will definitely call in. But I'm
Okay,
probably gonna be
probably be,
on the flat.
Fishing somewhere.
or
Okay.
down. And
yeah,
likely to not be open on Wednesday, so, you know.
right. If hopefully, yeah, it'll be on Zoom, so we'll get you hooked up. That'll be good.
And an additional question on that, if I might, what time? It would be in the evening?
Yes, right. So she's gonna fly in that day. Thinking 6 or a couple hours, 3 hours. And I'm gonna open it up to some other boards and commissions also, so it'll be more than just you guys.
I'll be just coming out of the field myself.
Oh, okay. All right.
Great. All right, thank you. And we have correspondence and yeah, a few items in there. I did want to ask the part about the DOT proposing to widen their easement on Whiteshed Road. It didn't include maps.
It was like 15 pages long, so I put the link on there. Do you see the link where you can go to it?
Oh, I missed it.
Oh, it's
Isn't
at
that
the
it?
bottom
Yeah.
of her letter.
Oh, maybe.
Is that it? The-
25th, isn't
On
it?
page 20.
On page 25, yes, yes.
Bottom.
There it is.
25?
Oh, right.
Okay, so if we go to that, we can look up the maps.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And it's until June 2nd, so if you
Mhm.
feel like you want to
Great.
send in any comment, we have
Mhm.
time.
Okay.
I know Kevin looked at it because I asked him before I put it in case he wanted to comment, and look at him walking up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, these are all easements that are required to complete the White Shed Bike Path and Road Reconstruction Project. So from a staff side, I mean, we're fully supportive of all of this because it's necessary to complete that project, so.
So should we send in a letter as the council and say that we support it? I mean, would that?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt, I guess.
Or-
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. We were just going to not comment
Mhm.
because we didn't have any objection to it, so, but.
I mean, if it's supporting the project, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the project's
Does anybody object to that? Okay.
Well, isn't this, am I correct in understanding this is an opportunity for the public to comment on whether or not they are willing to have this easement there, right? That's what DOT is asking for, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Doing
just,
this.
it's part of just like their general process where
Yeah.
as they go through different stages, they ask for public comment on different issues. And yeah, this would be one where they're asking if the public has any concerns about the state taking more area for the right of way.
Yeah, so in my mind, it seems like it's not necessary for us to say anything here because this is an opportunity for
Mhm.
affected property owners to voice their concerns.
Okay.
Obviously, we're in favor of it because we,
Yeah, and that's kind of why staff
Okay.
wasn't planning on submitting any comments for it, so, yeah.
Am I?
Yes.
Just an opportunity for other agencies who do land management area that.
Yeah,
might be able to
definitely.
effect on. So I know Forest Service and others get these types of requests.
Yep.
Like comment, so might be an opportunity for, again, maybe corporation lands or federal lands to have opportunity to comment positively.
Yeah, don't open that door, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Mayor Smith.
Yes, Councilman.
I don't know, since we have this might be for city, this might not be not. Anyways, comment on the STIP. amendment showing that we have these projects potentially shovel ready the exact same time next year. Did anyone else catch on that? Of White Shed, October 26th, Second Street, November 26th. I don't know if you guys have heard at the city level anything on that. That is definitely not what has been advertised in the past, so.
So fiscal year 26 for the state. I think that's bid release.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that it's shovel ready in the sense of it's ready to go out for bid.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it before you.
I believe White Shed's already been bid, and I believe it was awarded.
Mhm.
Yeah, and this is the one where I know I've said it to the planning commission a bunch. I don't know if I've said it here. Officially, up until I've seen this letter here, officially, like they're saying, 28, 29, but they're ready to go as soon as they can get the funding. And so I think that's part of that is they're just trying to push it to do it as early as possible, but it's technically in the pipeline for later out unless funding comes available earlier. For the Second Street project, November of 26 would be next. That would be going out for bid for Second Street or at that time. So
that would be construction in.
construction would be in spring of 27, which is still fiscal year 26
For-
for the state.
No,
No,
us,
Yeah.
no,
but fiscal year 26 for us.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
it'd be 27.
Yeah. Sorry.
Nope.
And
It's-
it's so confusing.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, both of them had the exact same
Mhm.
verbiage of being shovel ready on these
Mhm.
dates. So, okay. And is that something that if they move forward, can we support city, can state support? Has there been any talk of these projects happening in the same year, the same time? Because everything I've heard has been staggered by about a year.
I don't think there's any certainty that they could say that would happen.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yes, Councilmember.
Is it problematic to have two projects like this going at the same time? For
No.
the city, for residents?
Well,
It's
residents,
Well,
with
yeah.
road work, so it's gonna impact, yes. But doesn't matter. I mean, White Shed's gonna get impacted and Second Street will get impacted because it's road work. So if they're together, I guess you have two impacted areas, but if they're separate, you have one, but unrelated transportation routes.
But if an out-of-town company bids on it, they bring all their equipment here at one time, so there's one cost. And
Right.
they can accomplish things in a more timely manner.
Mhm.
At scale,
Yeah.
Might ask a question, Mayor?
Yeah.
So between now and 27, when they start to happen, we actually get some new roads. What's the plan between now and then to keep them at least somewhat better maintained? Because they are a mess right now, especially White Shed, that one section on White Shed.
White Shed is a state road.
Hmm.
I don't know what their plan is.
Right, state road, that's true.
We do our best to fill potholes every other day, it feels like, for those guys, I'm sure.
We'll
It's because
continue to fill the potholes at the rate that you budget for them to be filled.
We have chips on the budget.
Can we
Yep, and that's
Can we
coming soon. We're
do that and bill the state? I mean, is there any chance of recouping anything for, for our input?
Well,
Referring to White Shed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we help them with potholes, although we trade stuff all.
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
say,
White
it
Shed is-
kind of comes out even. They help us out with stuff. We help
Okay.
them out with stuff. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, there's some lines, but
Mhm.
It is
Yeah.
so bad.
It's-
I mean, the amount, I don't know.
They were filling it today. That was a DOT employee out there that was.
Yep, I saw him.
rolling out of it.
The DOT employee. Yeah, there's
The-
only one.
Exactly.
The,
There's only one left.
Yeah,
Singular.
Is there just one now?
there's only just one right now.
there's,
Holy mackerel.
we can talk offline about this.
Yep, so we try. I mean,
Oh,
we work
okay.
together on things.
Okay.
But to fill all the potholes would be,
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So any other comments or questions about correspondence? Okay. So that brings us to ordinances and resolutions and ordinance 1230.
Mayor Smith.
Yes, Councilmember Sherman.
I move to approve ordinance 1230, amending Cordova Municipal Code 7.40 I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. Councilmember Sherman.
Sure. We've talked a long time about this, and I think this will end some of our concerns about the public noticing period and when we take action on the land. So I'm in favor of it after reading through the ordinance.
Councilmember Randy.
Nothing to add to that.
Anyone, any other comments,
Just thank you.
discussion?
Thank you.
Okay, hearing no further discussion. Oh, this is a roll call.
It's a roll call on second reading, final adoption of an ordinance. Deborah Adams,
Yes.
Casey Kinsman,
Yes.
Wendy Rainey,
Yes.
Kathy Sherman,
Yes.
Aaron Hansen,
Yes.
Mike Mickelson,
Yes.
Dave Zastro.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Great, thank you. So resolution 05-25-12. Anybody? Want? It's a resolution of the Council of the City of Cordova, Alaska, repealing terms of payment adopted by resolution 02-24-09 and deferring repayment of $3 million borrowed from the permanent fund and any interest on that rate payment. So I would entertain a motion to get this resolution on the table for discussion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Councilmember Zastro, did you want to?
Yeah, we spent a time, obviously, getting staff and the city managers' thoughts on this. We talked quite a bit in council about, why this was important in order to ensure that we had cash flow over the next several months into the end of 25. I think it's what we need to do. I think I don't see anything dramatically wrong with this approach, so I'm going to be supporting it.
I didn't, Councilmember Randy, did you second it? Wait, Sherman, sorry, thank you. You have any?
It's, it is very confusing, I think, but, and it might not be the, most practical way of handling this, but I think this is one that we've all agreed to. And I think we've agreed to, and it says that too in here, to monitor the situation with our finances and how we handle repayment before the end of this year. So I'm in favor of it. And I hope we never have to get in this kind of situation again.
Thank you. Do folks have other, Councilmember Kinsman?
Yeah, I guess from just, procedural, if we were to pay back this loan, is that put into a resolution? If instead of us keeping it, how would we memorialize that? Of Harbor Commission has received the funds and they're going to pay back their outstanding debt, or is it just happen and that's it? Like, I don't know the way that happens.
I think we could do either. I think it might be smart to do it by resolution because then it would, kind of clear this one up and we could put related resolution on the top right corner like that. We could say that 52512 is the related one if we do a subsequent one to repay.
And then my only follow-up to that is, then do we need to show an ordinance? I mean, and talking with Blake, and it sounds like procedurally, like the money actually doesn't have to leave that bank account. This is all just paper for future to be able to see like, okay, the harbor paid this back, great. Now the city is going to take $3 million that was just paid back and put it into our general fund. That seems clear. Again, the money can, my understanding, and please, anyone in the room can correct me if I'm wrong, can stay exactly where it's at.
That's correct.
And so my follow-up is then, if we do this resolution saying it's been paid back, then do we need to do an ordinance to pull it out? A question.
You can't move money from
Okay.
the permanent fund without an ordinance and a specific ordinance that needs 7 yeses on second reading.
It's, if the money's still in place, money's exactly where it's at, to have a clean process, that makes sense to me. To be able to have a resolution saying that it's been paid back and an ordinance showing that, okay, this has been pulled back. It doesn't sound like there's any objection to it. It is just to make a clean process.
So are you talking about now or in the future? I guess I've kind of lost
No, right,
track of.
with this $3 million, we can show that the harbor, because that's who it was loaned to, and when I went back, it looked like the original ordinance showed it going to the harbor, and so anyways, the resolution, paying it back, ordinance pulling from, and using it for exactly what this resolution says, but it just would need to be an ordinance instead of a resolution.
So you're asking to turn this into a resolution?
I'm asking to turn
I mean,
this
an
into
ordinance, I'm sorry, an ordinance.
and I guess, a resolution that doesn't exist yet to memorialize that the harbor has paid back these funds to the permanent fund. And the ordinance to say, okay, we are now going to take these funds, it doesn't have to be those funds, the amount of 3 million, and move it into the general fund. It is, I know, more staff work, but it is a clear process. Again, anyone else can speak up if they disagree on that, but I think that for historical sake, for consistency, for the sake of the public, and for our stewardship of these funds, I think this is, in my opinion, the best option, the proper option. So that's my comment on it.
The city attorney helped us through this, so this is absolutely a legal way, but that is an option you guys can choose to do if you direct that.
So what I'm hearing is that it would mean not adopting this resolution and coming back with an ordinance and another resolution to do two ordinances to do two different.
Well, wouldn't it would, my understanding would be a resolution to memorialize, because we don't have to have an ordinance to say we paid back the money, correct? And maybe we don't even need a resolution to say we paid back the money. I don't know that process. I actually haven't seen money get paid back. I've only been seeing money come out, so.
Or is it two ordinances because you're doing two different transactions?
I think we need some time to process that,
Okay.
because in my mind,
And it may not.
If that's the will of the body.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, this is one person.
Right.
But the way I see it, it's one ordinance to pull the money. And then however we determine that the money goes back, I don't know what that answer is. But I can't imagine us paying back money requires an ordinance.
No.
Pay back a loan of an ordinance that was established.
So I think the options are to either approve this resolution that we have on the table or
Defer to staff.
refer it back to
Would that
staff
Be the
or.
appropriate motion, defer to staff with that guidance, if the council agrees to it.
Now I'm lost.
yeah.
Okay,
I think
lost.
because the issue is that the original $3 million came out of the harbor fund. And
No, wait.
what
Wait to the.
To the harbor.
went, I'm
Like,
sorry,
to
went
the
to the
harbor.
harbor fund from the permanent fund, right?
Mhm.
And so what David Allison was saying was that we should repay, that the
Repay the
harbor should,
Permanent
yes, from the harbor, not from the general fund. So it would take two transactions as opposed to, and this sort of lumps them together.
Uh,
And if somebody else can articulate that better, you're welcome to.
I still think it only needs one transaction. It just would require an ordinance instead of a resolution. 'Cause my understanding is, the little bit I've looked at it, us doing a resolution to say that we're paying it back is just memorialize it. Like, I'm not even sure we have to do that if we're
Mhm.
paying something back.
So this would pay back the 3 million to the permanent fund, and then the money we need to make the general fund operational would need to come back out of the permanent fund. So
It's
that's what
on
we were
paper.
trying.
On paper,
On
Right,
paper
but that's
only.
what we were trying to avoid by doing it this way is not. I'm confused, but I'd like to see it just as clean as possible. And I know the Myriad money was supposed to repay that permanent fund because we were gonna get, but then there's interest involved. Yeah, I don't know.
I think, I mean, it works. That would work. I think the interest is part of the reason we went this way because we don't have money to pay back the interest. So
Right.
if we say we're gonna pay back, the ordinance said we would pay it with the interest.
and so
So
then that's probably where the resolution needs to come in to say, hey, it was paid back, agreed upon by council without interest. That's done. It's
The
paid
interest
back.
is
The
the
harbor fund,
right?
the harbor fund paid back to the permanent fund in this resolution, however it looks, and stating within there without the interest. Like if that's agreed upon, if that's, because that is what the
Would
order.
come from the harbor fund. Basically.
Yeah, basically. Nice.
Yeah,
So that would be, I mean, and then to make it clear and seamless on the other side of that is now the city of Cordova, not the enterprise fund, is pulling this money from the permanent fund for our general fund. And then, I mean, even similar verbiage to here that's in this resolution would probably be fine. I could agree with that of looking at updates and repayment plans at the end of this year. But keeping it procedurally clean, I know it is creating more work, that harbor, the
The harbor's
ordinance
off the hook.
is complete from the harbor's standpoint. That ordinance is done, it's been paid back, we got the money. Mira, it's all closed out. Now let's open this other transaction with another ordinance.
Why can't we just throw a whereas in here that says the harbor has repaid the permanent fund? And then just have a pause like we were with this one until year end to revisit.
But then if I mean, if it's paid back, then aren't we pulling money out, which then requires an ordinance?
Yeah. I mean, even though it's in limbo, it's still considered.
And I can even get behind what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I would just say defer to staff on this, and if the attorneys want to come back and say that's all fine, cool, and copacetic, and we're great, it seems messy to me, but.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I guess whatever's procedurally cleanest, I suppose, but I think the primary need we have is flexibility for the city to be able to use those funds for cash flow. So we're just talking about procedural needs and whatever works best, I suppose.
Well, that.
I think we're gonna have to come in an ordinance.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna have to be an ordinance.
so
I feel
you're,
comfortable with it.
you're open to a friendly amendment is what you're saying?
I am.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be more of a supporter of an ordinance. So that's what I said.
Cheryl had something offered. She had her hand up.
come on up. You're the next contestant.
On
You gotta yell at me.
Okay.
If I understood that last little part, all right, that it was gonna be, we could do a resolution saying we're paying it back now, but still wait till later this year to do an ordinance to
No, I,
take it
so
back.
my understanding, so the money, my envision of this, money stays exactly where it's at.
Yes, for that to happen, they need to happen kind of simultaneously.
Exactly. So we will have the resolution come and say, and even the next meeting, or it sounds like we may have a special meeting. If, I don't know how quickly we can do it, in the resolution, this has been paid back without interest. We
Okay.
can have that verbiage in there.
Okay,
Sounds like there's support of that. We understand where the city's at. And in the same meeting, we can do the first reading of the ordinance that is saying that the city is now requesting $3 million from the permanent fund to go into the general fund for, in my mind, exactly what this resolution says,
Okay.
just in an ordinance form.
yep, that sounds good. I thought there
Okay.
was something that said, or we could even just put it off until later this year to do the
it.
ordinance, but they need to have.
Same
them
meeting,
together. Yeah.
exactly same
Okay.
meeting. That's,
That was all.
thank you.
Thank you.
So staff knows,
What did you vote?
I don't know
on?
what you're doing. You guys have to, I guess, refer to staff and say.
That's what
So
you amend
those-
the motions.
The staff.
Right.
So then I'll move, and I'm just gonna move to defer this to staff based on our conversation.
But isn't there a motion already on that
There's a-
table?
Yeah, but motion to refer goes
he's
on
open to
top of
the
it.
amendment.
That's okay.
There you go.
Well, no, it's not an amendment. It's a motion to refer takes the place of the
Okay, thank
motion to
you.
approve.
so.
But who moved it? Casey?
Casey moved it.
Casey.
And do you need a second? I'll second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the motion to refer to staff? Are you,
I'm just gonna say we'll get it back to you when we get it back to you. I'm not promising next week or even the next meeting. But it,
I think the only thing I would add to that is whenever we bring it, they need to
Together.
be in the same
well,
meeting.
but would
Yeah.
the second reading of the ordinance be more important to be with the resolution or the first?
I think
and I-
for public opportunities, should be able to know that in
Oh,
the first reading,
okay.
that this has been paid off and this is a separate transaction.
They have to vote, right?
They need to vote to refer.
Yes.
Correct.
yes,
Okay.
right, okay. So all those in favor of the motion to refer to staff, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. Okay. All right, so that brings us to, we have no unfinished business, new and miscellaneous business. Certification of the 2024 property assessment roll. Entertain a motion.
Mayor Smith,
Yes.
I move to certify the accuracy of the 2025 property assessment roll of all the real property within the city of Cordova valued as of January 1st, 2025.
Thank you, Councilmember Sherman. Is there a second?
Well, second.
Seconded by Kinsman. Councilmember Sherman, speak to your motion.
I think the memo covers everything that is pertinent. We went through BOE, and all the data that was provided to us is accurate as far as I can tell.
Councilmember Kinsman?
Yeah, I think what is important for the public who might be listening is just because you've been assessed higher doesn't mean you're necessarily getting taxed higher. That they get set at two different rates, and I always get the same question from the public. And it was confusing to me until I sat through this process. So your value may have gone up, and that's natural. It is happening. It's indicative of living in an amazing place, in a beautiful place with actually, considering our rural nature, we have some really amazing amenities. We really, truly do. We've been maybe used to some better amenities, but we still have some really amazing amenities for living here. So your value went up does not mean that that directly correlates to your taxes or what the set different. Mill rate and your property set differently, two different times. So, and the memo, I thought, outlined it very clearly.
Any other council members who want to go next? Have any questions or comments about the motion?
Can I just say one sentence that I meant to put in the memo, but I didn't? Because I didn't do the addition until today, but there's 17 different properties, total raised value of about $2,100,000 was either new construction or an increase in percent complete of construction. So there's a lot of stuff going on in Cordova, in case you didn't know. I mean, I think maybe you knew. There's a lot of building going on, a lot of people throwing up garages or sheds or additions or you know, or building whole new houses or whatever. So all the land sales and stuff that boogers up your packets, it's like working, it's happening. Even on a year when nothing really across the board went up too much, but 2 million in increased value on that kind of stuff was pretty good. 17 different properties.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, thanks. Thanks for that insight for.
Yeah.
And another thing, only because I noticed it and it was a glitch to me, but you don't have to notice it, but here, I'm going to tell you about it
Now we
anyway.
will.
Federal exempt went up considerably, and I went to the card and it was Coast Guard housing, and either there was a mistake or things weren't accounted for properly, but like all the new Coast Guard housing went up significantly. I think maybe it just hadn't been caught or was moved to different cards when we transferred to Mars and then got lost or something. So that's that considerable from 27 million to 48 million in federal exempt. But if you see taxable versus exempt, we've been going in the right direction. There was a long time ago, this was 50-50 or less, this chart, circle, graphs. And it's 53-46 now, 54-46. That's my insight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion to certify the accuracy of the 2025 property assessment roll, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Thank you. Okay. And that brings us to pending agenda. And the CIP list and elected and appointed officials lists. Is there anything, do you want to tell us about what you think we need for next week?
Yeah, well, a special meeting on the 14th because Dr. Sanders wants to talk to you guys in an executive session.
Well, both her and I want to talk to you in executive session about the hospital, where we're at with it, what we support and don't support of moving forward. So it's a financial question. And then also, I think, and Susan, I haven't asked you this yet, but we could put Diana Rydell's, because her letter will be there, to put that on there. I just thought of another one. Oh, maybe we'll have an ordinance ready
And a resolution.
and a resolution.
This is all for next Wednesday.
Yeah, I know. What time were you thinking?
Here,
6.
do you think?
This is okay with me.
Can we do middle of the day or no? No, you guys are not
No.
noon people.
What's that?
Because you have to be in person. Like,
That hurt?
I don't know that I'll be in person. I might have to be in Juneau.
Oh, okay, okay.
Middle of the day is a killer.
6.
I won't be here.
Oh,
And I don't.
and the reason we're doing it is because Dr. Sanders is in town next week.
Yeah, I could, are you here anytime next week?
No, I leave town on the 13th.
I could,
So I'm sorry, I guess, yeah, we could do it Monday. We could-
Monday would
Monday
probably
night.
work best for me, actually.
Wait a minute, because I have no idea what's going on in this building.
Yep.
I haven't thought about that
Um,
part.
Okay, I can talk with Dr. Sanders about Monday at 6. I'm not sure when she's coming
What's the
in.
date on Monday?
The 12th.
Yes, 12.
But she can't wait a week and just do it on Zoom?
She won't be,
I know,
Well,
but she
she
just.
could
does-
do it on Zoom anytime. She
Yeah,
would like to
She
be
wanted to be
here.
in person.
And I can respect that. So I want to
Yep,
try to
absolutely.
accommodate that.
Absolutely.
Nice to do it in person.
Yeah.
Okay, I will talk to her on the 12th. So Casey, you're not here either on the 14th
I don't think so, no.
and not being able to attend at all?
I mean, I could, but if the mayor's gone and
I
I'm the vice mayor, then.
Well, somebody else can run the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
But-
Kathy's a pro at it.
Great. I mean, if that's when he's happening, I should be
you
able
around?
to call in on.
Okay,
Here,
that was just what I
14th,
wanted to.
15.
Would not
Okay.
be in person, very likely not in person.
Is Tony here? You don't have a harbor commission next week, do you? Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
But I don't know whether events, if there's anything online.
Well, I'd rather stick to a Wednesday because I feel like
Mhm.
Harbor's supposed to be in here on a Wednesday, so we could do it that day.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so
I mean,
Kathy could run it and you could be on the
So that's first
phone at
choice.
least. Yeah,
Is the 14th.
yeah,
Okay.
okay. Um. I don't know when so the whole canceling a second meeting of the month, we'll talk about it at the first meeting of each month. This is the first meeting of May, but we're already having a special on the 14th. I don't know, we have to set the mill rate, we have to pass that school resolution, so
Mhm.
I don't think we're skipping the second May
So
one.
either.
So the
Maybe we
21st.
could start with that
in
in June, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
But May 21st, does that look like everybody's gonna be around, maybe in and out? It's
I'll have to call
getting
in.
harder, getting harder. Yeah, you can Zoom if you have to.
I'll be in person.
I'll be in person. I should.
Yeah, I'll be online, but I can attend.
Okay.
Summer.
Just because the school one is kind of a lot to get through. That resolution.
Yeah.
Does it need
Make
all of?
my head spin.
No, it doesn't need everyone. You just need to understand it.
I'll be flying.
I don't think I have really anything else.
So are we looking at the 12th or are we sticking with the 14th?
I sounds
14th
like the
is
14th is the first choice.
Yeah. So we're going with the 14th unless, because I know Hannah will be here. She confirmed the 14th.
Okay.
Oh,
But
Wednesday night.
Mhm.
6 PM, is that what we?
Yep.
Okay. Okey dokey.
you got a lot of color coordinating going on in that book.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll let you know if Wednesday doesn't work and we figure something else out.
Yep.
Can I ask about, we had talked about having a mug up session to talk about the breakwater fill lot, which I have not followed up on to schedule, but I'm asking if we can put it on the schedule, but I was wondering about June.
Okay,
And,
how do you want to have it? Like as,
Do we do it when Nouveau's going on?
I mean, if you, what'd you say?
that's dangerous.
During Nouveau. When
Well, I was
people-
thinking of the first week of, so when is Nouveau, the 8th?
The first week of June.
Yeah.
Which is, so Nouveau is, the 7th. Oh, it's all, well,
Well, it says the 3rd to 7th. Yeah, I was just looking at,
It's that.
The
their
event is
website.
that Saturday.
yeah.
their big
like-
thing is the Saturday, yeah.
Right, and the
Their
online,
auction opens
the
up
online
during that
auction is
time.
happening, yeah, during that week, so. It doesn't have to be that week, it can be the following week, but I just wanted to bring it up so we could get it on the calendar.
I would
But-
be,
Okay, but what do you need from us? Because you can have it and I'll just advertise that a
Yeah.
quorum of council might be there,
Public.
but I'll find a room and I'll put it out to advertise.
I think that if the education room is available, that would be a nice size.
You like that
comfort
size?
room.
Okay,
And if we could do it the 12th, that would be, I can
June
help
12th?
more.
Okay,
June
and I was
12th.
wondering about,
are you talking about coffee mugs or beer mugs?
Yeah.
Are you in the
Coffee
morning?
first.
Are you at noon? Are you at 6? What, I mean,
that's what I'm asking too, what do people think would be a good time? Would 10 AM, would noon, would
I'm more into like a
5?
mid to late afternoon.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I would say I would make it an open time frame, maybe 4 to 6.
Yeah. if
People
you-
can come and go,
right.
Okay.
Post-it notes,
Mhm.
options on the wall.
Okay.
After work, midday stuff just. sucks.
Yeah,
Mhm.
4 to 7 or 4 to 6, let people come and go.
Okay,
and we're liking June 12th. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Darn, I need Ashley's calendar when I come here. Need to do that.
if you could check with her, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We
Okay.
will do that.
Okay.
Talking
So
4 to
this is
6.
the
Is that what you said?
breakwater fill up.
Mhm.
Mug up. Very informal.
Yeah, I think it
Are
needs
you-
to be very informal.
So you're not anticipating all of council being there? It's just
Well,
like
I think
you,
we can post it as a quorum of council,
Yeah.
may be present, but it's not officially a council meeting.
okay.
Cause like I probably could get there at 5. I wouldn't be there the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just for people to come in, come out,
We can have
visit with
signs.
you, have
Yep.
Yeah.
We can
right on the board.
set
or-
flip charts.
Okay.
Can help with all of that.
Got it.
Yeah.
We can help with that.
Have some experience with that?
Hmm.
Do you?
I'm not sure I can physically be there, but I can get it organized.
Yeah. Great, thank you. Okay. Okay, anything else for pending agenda? Like enough?
Oh, come on.
All right, so that brings us to audience participation. Would the audience like to participate?
But Allison, 203 Whiskey Ridge, if I'm here, I gotta speak, right? First of all, I'd like to thank you for trying to unravel the rat's nest that, with that harbor loan thing. I think you're on the right track now. I don't necessarily think you need two ordinances, but, just make your first whereas. Ordinance 1215 said that it would loan the harbor money, $3 million, for the harbor project until the raise grants came in, whereas the raise grants have come in and now that loan has been repaid to the permanent fund, do it all in one document, and it's a done deal. But what I really stayed the whole meeting to talk to you about is the school budget. I may not be here when you do get into serious discussions about that, but I would encourage you to take Alex up on his offer to come speak to him. I have supported the schools forever, but I've also said forever that every year they tell us their reserves, it's gonna be 0 or 200,000. I think last year they said it was gonna be 500,000, and they come this year and it was 1.2. Every year it's over that. He was talking tonight about the 900,000 in cuts that they made. Well, most of those cuts aren't cuts being made from last year's budget. It's cuts being made from what they wish their budget could have been. They haven't had that math teacher for years. They haven't had a sixth grade teacher for years, but it's been part of their budget, and that's why they end up with 1.2 million instead of 500,000. So ask the questions about where, you know, is that cuts from what was actually spent last year, or is that cuts from what you had hoped you could get last year? They always have, just like we have positions we budget for but can't fill. They have the same situation, and I would venture to say we won't need any state travel money if we only let our teams travel one place each year. I think that's doing a disservice to our kids. They need to have the experience to make it a full experience. So I hope that we can find a way to fund those. I think fundraising efforts could pick up and probably will. But anyway, thank you for your service. Appreciate the work that you all doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other audience participation? Okay. So then we go to council comments. I'm gonna pick on Councilmember Vanny this time and start at that end of the table.
Trying to find the dates on that thing. So, okay.
Where's your turn to speak?
What?
List.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
Okay.
kidding. She's picking on you.
Thanks to, Dave Allison for coming. I was confused with how we were doing that, and this makes more sense to me. So thank you for that, those comments, and to Councilmember Kinsman for making it eloquently better said than I could have and tried and failed miserably. So that does make more sense to me going that way. The showcase on May 13th here for Rise for the Chamber is actually new Cordova businesses that are starting up, that are coming to established businesses as cohorts and mentors to try to get new businesses rolling in Cordova, and they need support from Cordovans. So even if you pop by for a couple minutes and look at, this has been an 8-week process for these new businesses to learn from existing Cordova businesses. And I think that they have a lot to offer. The chamber's done a really excellent job in putting this together. And I think the only way that, we're going to be successful with trying to bring new businesses to Cordova is if we continue to advocate and Cordovans show up to show support, even if it's just for a couple minutes to see what these folks have put together and what new things are happening in Cordova. So I do highly recommend that everybody pop in for a couple minutes at that cohort workshop, the community showcase, and at 5:30 on Tuesday, and just say, we support new businesses in Cordova, and we know it's hard, but good luck. Thanks to staff. I don't know, but tonight I'm thoroughly confused face was on quite a bit. So I appreciate that you can get all that down in minutes somehow. Thank you.
Councilmember Sherman.
Yeah, thanks for the packets, and I really appreciated meeting with the school board today, and I appreciate your comments, David, about their budget. And fundraisers, I went to the robotics fundraiser. You could get falafel and not ice worm time, and it was really great. So there are great ways to support our teams, and I'm sure robotics isn't in the main fundraising or the main budget for the city or the school. And I have just gotten back, but boy, driving around town, talk about new stuff and buildings and things happening. And my road is a perfect example. There's a new house going up. There's another house being renovated. I had local workers today. There's lots of stuff happening all around. So I think some of the things that we've been talking about people are picking up on it, and it's very exciting. And my last little comment on new buildings and new facilities. So I went to talk to Dottie Woodman at the Net Loft about her contaminated soil. And I'm sure this is not an uncommon problem in our community. And I'm not quite sure how we can help her, but it's going to knock her back quite a bit. She's supposed to start this week or the end of this month. I apologize. And most of the contamination is from creosote. Well, the public utilities building used to be just up the hill where they treated their creosote poles. And it's also fuel oil. And I remember when I think the fuel oil was leaking forever. Then they finally burnt the building down. But I mean, it's all downhill from all that space. So it's such a shame that previous things that have happened on our lots in Cordova are, holding back people who, and we know darn well this is going to be $1 million business, more than $1 million business when she gets it done. So I just wish there was some way the city could look at this, or if there is other contaminated areas, is there areas where we can store this? She told me, and I didn't look into it anymore, but you can get paid for dealing with contaminated soil and tending it. So I don't know what's out there. But anyway, I thanked her for continuing to move forward and not giving up. But there are things like that I just keep wondering how many things we don't hear about or how we could help. So anyway, I'm going to keep cheering her on.
Thank you. Yeah, she's a huge asset or part of our business community, for sure. Councilmember Hanson.
I just want to thank everybody, and that's all I got.
Thanks. Councilmember Adams.
Having a pretty long and intimate relationship with the school, as much as we can fund the school, I would support that. The school is right now it's the state of education is part of the problem, in that one, the BSA has not kept up with inflation. And there is no defined benefit program anymore, retirement program for teachers in the state of Alaska. So it's really hard to recruit people to come here. And I don't know, I think, you know, the issue with the math teacher at the high school, the position hasn't been filled last year, and, excuse me, this year is the only year it hasn't been filled, because it couldn't replace that teacher. And we're working almost at like bare bones staff. And so as much as we can support the school, I just put in a plug for that. And it goes to, I think if we're going to look where is the source of the problem, it's in Juneau. Because we have a legislature that refuses to budge and so in increasing education funding. And it's real upsetting to me because teachers are among the lowest paid professionals out there. So I would love for legislators to come and spend not just an hour and not just a day in our schools, but spend a few days doing what a teacher does or watching what a teacher does. And I think they would understand a little bit better what it means to do this job. So anyway, I get on my soapbox about that. Secondly, the training in June, I'm going to have to call in on that, but I'm looking forward to it because some of this discussion, I'm furiously taking notes, so I'll go home and do homework so I can understand what has been said. So I'm looking forward to that and getting up to speed as experienced members have been. So thank you.
Councilmember Kinsman.
Yeah, I guess I'm had on my list for the Rise Community Showcase. So thanks for that plug, Councilmember Rainey. I did have a question kind of on that. Do we need to advertise loosely? There might be a quorum there, and probably that and the Rasmussen event on the 15th, I think is when that is. Okay, thank you. And plug for anyone traveling, today was the first day for Real ID. So if Real ID, or you can go and find all the list, passport, pretty much if you have any government ID, that all is a substitute to, or counts as a Real ID, whatever, however, which side of that coin you want to look at it. But today was the first day. So thanks, City, for all your efforts and getting someone here for the DMV so we can at least move the needle forward and to have hope. Because we didn't have a lot of hope before, at least we had. I mean, 200 plus applications processed. That's not a small amount, especially if we start getting percentages in our community. So thank you.
Can I add to that?
Please.
Should have done this in my manager's report. The LIO has done all of that work.
Yeah.
Amy Hodgkin?
Hodgkins?
Has done it all.
Mhm.
She's amazing. She volunteered to do it. She's done an amazing job. I mean, that's what DMV said. Well, you have to get a volunteer. You have to do this and make this happen before we'll even talk to you about coming. So if it wasn't for Amy, we wouldn't be here because I don't have the resources in people to do that.
Perfect.
So,
Well,
yeah.
thank you, Amy. It was wonderful. And I
See her.
look
stop by.
forward to us giving some kind of formal kudos to her in that, because that is amazing for our community. So that's what I have, and thank you.
Thanks. Councilmember Zastro.
Yeah, echoing a lot of what has already been said. I definitely got a lot out of having the school board here and having Alex explain in detail a lot of what they're dealing with. And it'll be interesting diving in deep on how we're going to support the school district. As always, thank you, staff, for all the work you do. Incredible effort to keep us organized. I always appreciate Dave Jenkins' reports. They're always thorough and really, really well thought out, and he's a really good representative for us. So I really appreciate him doing what he's doing. And lastly, just a comment on Parks and Rec and what Samantha's having to deal with the pool and obviously with Skater's Cabin, two heavily used recreation facilities in our community. And I'm hopeful we can find some solution in the near term for Skaters Cabin. And again, summertime, that gets heavily used. And I'd like to say maybe there's some opportunities with federal funds, but with things as they are right now, probably not in the near term, but there are definitely opportunities there that could be looked into. But anyhow, we just appreciate everything Samantha does. So that's it.
Yeah, I echo everyone else's comments, and yeah, I really appreciate hearing from previous participants in city government coming in and taking their time to remind us of how the process should go. So thanks for that, and thanks for everyone else from the city that's here that's reminding us the things that we need to focus on. So thank you.
Thank you. Great. Well, thanks, everyone. I made a note. I will, you asked about talking points for the Rasmussen Foundation, and thought I would talk, because I think Amanda has some kind of graphic design experience. I thought maybe she could help with putting something, just coming up with a design for a poster that we could print on plotter paper to hang for the Rasmussen Foundation.
With the pictures and stuff, or just the thank you, or?
I was just thinking thank you, and then maybe a list of the projects that they funded in Cordova.
As long as you have a source for that. The
I
list of
can ask
projects,
around. I
'cause
mean, I know some things, but
Or if you give me the list, I can do that in pictures and just do the,
Oh, yeah, the slideshow.
yeah,
mhm.
whatever you want.
We can make sure we know where their little fish is up there. on
Yeah, and
the
their names
board.
on the wall
Yeah.
upstairs too. Sure, it's dusted.
Maybe put lights around it.
Yeah.
It doesn't need a star, but.
13th
it's maybe a little-
Rise. 15th is Rasmussen.
Yeah.
It's a busy week.
Mhm.
And
Again,
And a council in the middle of it.
Yeah.
and it's graduation.
And it's graduation
What day
too,
is
that,
graduation?
next Saturday, but all next week is something
Yeah.
every single night.
yeah.
Sam, are we going to watch the Yankees play Seattle?
Yeah, well, probably not. That's when the Yankees play Seattle too.
Busy week.
Big week.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Do we need a motion?
Say it. No objection.
No objection. Meeting's adjourned. 8:45.
No, wait,
Susan?
she's running.
Turn Zoom on.
Um,
Okay.
One, and I don't, so I have